Inside Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's ethical investments. Last year, Prince Harry and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, announced their involvement with Ethic, an asset manager that bills itself as ethical. Since stepping down from their royal duties in the United Kingdom, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have signed contracts with companies such as Netflix Inc. as well. However, their partnership with Ethic is one of the most important for them, since their stated goal is to encourage young people to invest sustainably, which is an admirable goal. Ethic was founded in 2015 and it claims to create bespoke investments for its customers based on the social and environmental issues that are most important to them. Lipman believes that by collectively divesting from polluters and companies that perpetuate racial discrimination, such as the private prison system, investors can address society's most pressing issues. However, ethical investing is all too often a smokescreen for asset management, allowing large corporations to pollute, discriminate, and pay bare-bones wages when they can. As a result, this announcement provides an important opportunity to discuss what ethical investing entails right now and how it can be improved. Asset managers' vast holdings, from large players like BlackRock and Vanguard to smaller entities like Ethic, give them unparalleled power over resource allocation in our economy. By law, their fiduciary duties, the responsibilities that companies have to those whose assets they manage, prioritize profits over the preservation of critical social and environmental systems. This is the inherent tension with ethical investing of all kinds. Because these responsibilities are currently defined, asset managers are focused on increasing financial returns as quickly as possible. Ethic claims that it allows you to invest based on your values, but even they cannot prioritize investments with poor financials. They can allow for comparisons of better or worse societal impacts for companies with comparable financials. This system is thus anti-ethical to the needs of the very households whose savings are managed, let alone society as a whole. This misalignment puts undue strain on environmental systems, social institutions, and the political process. Even companies that want to make money in an ethical way are being squeezed by misguided fiduciary standards. It is worth noting that the Department of Labour just released a proposal on Thursday that would allow asset managers to consider sustainability, though this would only apply to funds governed by the Department of Labour. Asset managers are supposed to be accountable to the households and pension funds that they serve. The issue today is how we define our interests, which should no longer be solely financial returns in the 21st century. Everyone, including asset managers, has a stake in whether we decarbonize our economy, raise job standards, and live in a healthier and more equitable society. At the same time, US households with financial assets, such as stocks and bonds held in a retirement fund or a 529 college account, have largely become fully diversified shareholders of corporate equity, which means that their wealth is tied to the entire stock market rather than just a small subset of companies. The wealthiest shareholders frequently take a more targeted approach through a somewhat complex system that allows some people to purchase shares that are not traded on the stock exchange. This means that we bear the full brunt of corporate negative externalities, an economic term for which a company finds a way to avoid paying for problems it caused. Consider an oil or chemical company that pollutes the environment but does not have to pay for it. The climate crisis necessitates new rules requiring all asset managers to invest in long-term interests of beneficiaries rather than just the short-term payoff. We propose two specific areas for federal policy reform in a recent paper with Rick Alexander of the Shareholder Commons. The first is a substantive redefinition of asset managers' fiduciary duty, requiring managers to consider the impacts of their portfolio on their beneficiaries' common interests, including community and environmental welfare. The second is a substantive bright line, requiring portfolios to be carbon neutral by 2050 in accordance with the Paris Agreement. Policymakers should amend the Investment Advisors Act of 1940 and ERISA to hold all asset managers accountable for their impact on the shared social and natural systems required for a just, equitable, inclusive, and prosperous economic system. One might think that sustainable investing would solve this problem, and indeed, trillions of dollars are flowing into sustainable portfolios, possibly on that basis. However, as one former BlackRock chief investment officer put it, the industry knows that if they put ESG or green on something, they can make a lot of money out of it, despite the fact that there is no agreed upon definition of what a sustainable investment is. In other words, there are no agreed upon limits on what qualifies a fund as green or ethical. Thus, even in a fossil fuel reserves-free fund, some of the stock held could be from coal, oil, and gas companies. Even if a fund only invests in companies in specific industries, it is likely that another fund in the fund family is investing in, say, fossil fuel companies or military-industrial complex companies. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have stated that they want to bring attention to issues such as social justice, climate change, and income inequality. That is, of course, a good way to use their massive platform, but they should also use it to demand real reforms that hold all asset managers accountable to the people and societies whose assets they manage. They should recognize that new startup companies making different decisions are insufficient. We need broad changes so that all businesses do not continue to justify environmental destruction and labor squeezing as just the cost of doing business, with asset managers justifying those behaviors as the cost of increasing financial returns.